one of the positive things of this sad story, as you say, has been the community response to Lola going missing on the 7th of October. I could never have imagined just how much that story would touch people's hearts and how much the community would rally behind the tale of this much loved dog going missing on what is a regular morning walk for her. Off she went with another one of my dogs, chasing obviously a rabbit or something, as she often does, and then just not coming home. And it's been an extraordinary couple of weeks of, I can't even begin to describe the sort of emotional roller coaster. On day one, you can't actually go to bed because you can't believe that your dog is out there somewhere and you're going to sleep without your dog. You just can't do it. And then, so you're up all night and, you know, and you're thinking, I can't sleep if she's not here, because where is she? And, you know, how sad is she and how lonely, and is she heard? And then you realize you're on day 2 and day 3 and now day 15. And you still haven't found your dog. So it's a really tricky, emotionally draining, completely consuming situation to find yourself in.
It is. Now, on that day then, you say that you took her out for a walk. Where were you? For people that don't know the area. Sure.
So we live on River Road, which is on the towpath. It's part of the towpath running along the Thames. And we have 4 dogs. One of them's on holiday in Wales at the moment. So we take the other 3 out and we go out really early in the morning. We go out at 6 and we're back by 7. And we do that every morning without fail. And then we go out again in the evening. We do a regular route along the towpath to Braylock and then back through the fields, do a big loop and come back onto River Road. So the dogs know this route. They've done it every single day. Lola's done it for 7 years. You know, they go off and have a little run and they come back, and that's how it is. And we were literally 200 meters from home, and 2 of the dogs obviously spotted something and went off for a run. And we never think anything of it because they always tip up 5 minutes later when they've had a little chase. One of the dogs came back about half an hour later, wasn't particularly agitated, but had obviously been running and was hungry, and no sign of Lola. So we went out and whistled for her, nothing. And then a couple of hours later, you're thinking she's never been out this long. And that's when we instigated a search. And so it grew from then and has spread to the Jubilee River, obviously the Bath Road, up through Taplow, into Clifton, down to Dorney, Datchet, Cookham, Knowle Hill, White Waltham, Marlow, Windsor, and beyond. There's no point trying to work out what a dog has done, because, you know, they probably follow trails and smells and go left and come back to what they know, and go right and come back to what they know. So you just have to search everywhere, literally search everywhere.
So literally no stone unturned.
You know, unfortunately for Lola, she has no distinguishing mark. She is pure black. She doesn't have a patch of white on her. There's nothing unusual about her. She's like a picture book, you know, Labrador. She's 7, she's female, she's chipped, she's neutered, she's very independent. She's definitely quietly the alpha female of the pack. She's very quiet in the house. She doesn't seek attention. She's not a human, you know, attention-seeking dog, unlike our yellow Labrador, Lucy. And when she's out, she's very happy. She goes and, you know, patrols the fields, runs in the river, jumps fences, comes back, goes in the river. She's very happy outside. And she's completely regular, predictable, reliable, and fairly resilient. So it's highly unusual for her to go missing. I mean, it's really unusual. And as you say, we've drawn on so many resources, including drone pilots, thermal imaging cameras, people who can kayak in really tight spaces. We've had the equestrian community, the angling community, people out on bicycles, sniffer dogs. I mean, we've literally pulled on every possible resource we can to find this dog. And obviously the biggest resource are people. So our other dogs are rescues, but Lola was our first ever dog and we were new to owning dogs. So we went for the completely safe option. A Labrador doesn't get much safer or easier than that. And from a trusted, it was actually, she came from a farm. She was the puppy of 2 working dogs on a farm owned by an army couple actually. And so we've had her since she was 8 weeks old. And we've trained her, and then she was joined 2 years later by another dog, and then 2 other dogs rescues. So you know, she's solid stock and been with us for 7 years.
Now, one of the things that concerns me is that she was wearing a muzzle at the time. It was just a light muzzle, wasn't it, to stop a worrying deer? But would she be able to get that off on her own?
So you're right, and that was the immediate worry, that if she's muzzled, she can't eat, and what if she's trapped by the muzzle? But the experts that we've spoken to have said, well, first of all, she can drink in it. It's only a light plastic frame to stop her, you know, if she does manage to catch up with a deer or a rabbit, to stop her doing any harm. And they think that she would have got it off. She would have managed to work it off in some way. And in fact, our other rescue dog had a muzzle on, and for the same reason, because he follows Lola, and he managed to get his off. Every time we take him out, he manages to pull it off in the undergrowth. So I'm very hopeful that she's managed to lose the muzzle. Obviously, that was the biggest worry, that she couldn't eat if she's got it on.
Now, you've obviously learned a huge amount in this time, and as you say, you've secured the services of all kinds of people, but one organisation that is very prominent is one that specialises in missing dogs. Can you tell me about that? It's a charity, isn't it?
Yes, it's a national charity called Dog Lost, and as soon as we reported the dog missing, they were in touch. They created a poster for us. They put it on their network. And I think the very same day, they'd sent 2 volunteers down to talk to us and to bring a thermal camera. I mean, it was astonishing. Yeah, I had no idea, obviously, that these are all volunteers who've, you know, either work with fostering dogs, rescuing dogs, or who have suffered themselves the loss of a dog. And they're now part of this, you know, network of volunteers across the country. So every time we've had a sighting of Lola, they immediately activate the local sort of chapter, if you like, of that organisation, and they go out and they join the local Facebook groups and they start postering the area. And they've been really good on the advice front as well, you know, in terms of, okay, here's what's likely to happen, and here is how you need to think about things now. You know, when you've gone through this many days with no sighting, you have to stop thinking of this dog as behaving in the way your pet would have behaved, because this dog has gone back to its feral roots and it's now wild and it's in survival mode. So don't call it, don't expect it to respond. You know, it will be fearful that it's being hunted now rather than called, you know, and that you almost have to think about looking for a fox, you know, and you have to think about it completely. And that was really helpful. And then obviously they just keep offering support, you know, because you have days where you just think, I just, you know, can't cope with this, or I can't believe this. And they're so good at saying, you know, look, we're there for you. We never give up on any dog. You know, we've just had this sighting, or we've got an instinct about this, or we'll follow. And the other thing they do, which is amazing, they keep on top of all the agencies for you. So they phone the Environment Agency to check there's nothing in the river. They phone the dog wardens to make sure the dog hasn't been hit on the road. They do the Rivers and Canals Trust. They do Network Rail. So they can constantly assure you that your dog hasn't come to a horrific end somewhere. And that's just really useful.